Hello, it's Jim from JetsonHacks.com. On today's show, we are going to look at the UST-10LX scanning laser rangefinder. Let's get started. It comes in this attractive little box. It's made in Japan. Let's open up the box. We have a little instruction manual. We have one written in Japanese. I assume that's Japanese. I don't read Japanese. Here's the LiDAR unit. Oh, we have a little inspection sticker. That's good to know. Put the box aside. Here's the LiDAR unit. What's this? This is our Ethernet cable. That's one way that we can talk to the LiDAR. Then here's our power and control cable. It comes on this little test rig. Two wires here, the blue and the brown are the negative and the positive for the 12 or 24 volts, and the rest are control wires. It's a class 1 laser product and has a CE mark. Let's hook it up. Because we are preparing to put this Hokuyo into a race car configuration, we will modify this wiring a little bit. The first thing that we would do is cut the control wires. We will bend the wires down and tape them up so that they do not short circuit. And now we will cut the power wires. We'll leave them to be about an inch or so. Let's get some electrical tape. Now we will strip the leads. Twist these together and then I will tin them with solder. That aside for the moment. And then we have a 3.5 millimeter plug with a jack. We simply cut this in half. Then we'll take this side of it. Oops. Oh my, the shark went down. It's a bad deal. This is the side that we will be wiring to the power. Let's make this one about 6 inches or so. We'll strip off the ends. This is a little bit of a thicker gauge than the other wires. Again, about 1/4 of an inch or so. Twist the wires, then I will tin them, solder, then I will wire them together. The blue wire is negative and the brown wire is positive. The positive is denoted on this particular wire by this white stripe. So let me go solder them together and put on some heat shrink tubing. I'm done soldering the wires together. I put some heat shrink tubing on them. Recommend you do both sides. So there's 2 pieces over this wire. You want to make sure that brown went to positive and blue went to ground. There's another heat shrink tube here. So we'll apply some heat to this. Turn on my trusty heat gun. Now we're ready to do the large tube. And now we're ready to test. So here's a Y cable I made up. This goes to the battery. This goes to the Jetson. This goes to the Hokuyo. This is the mating connector to this jack. So let's plug into our battery. Make sure we have it charged. Oh, it looks charged. And the moment of truth. Let's plug in the LiDAR. It's very quiet when you turn it on. You can feel a little bit of vibration when you pick it up. You can see that the blue light is on. So it is getting power. We got lucky again. Let's prepare to put it into the race car. Now we are ready to mount the LiDAR to the base. This is 1/4" aluminum. This is available in the Racecar-Ws store. This requires 2 M3x10 machine screws. The LiDAR standoffs are already mounted. We're ready to mount it onto the Racecar-Ws lower platform. The platforms are held in place by 440 7/16" machine screws. And now it's time to deal with the wiring. Just turn it over. So you can see the wiring is a little bit of a challenge. We'll take a couple of zip ties here. Now we're ready to mount it to the car. I've done the initial connections. I first wired up the steering servo, put a little bit of electrical tape on it, and then held it in place with a zip tie. The other connection is to connect the motor to the ESC. So that's the underneath. Now we're ready to install the IMU. For 40 1/4" screws. We then plug the IMU into the USB hub. Then throw some zip ties on there. Now we put the Jetson on. The camera points towards the back. It's a backup camera. Quarter-inch 440s again. The Ethernet from the LiDAR goes into the Ethernet plug on the Jetson. The USB hub goes here. Now we're ready to put on the top platform deck. So for testing, I only usually put in a couple of screws here. We'll make sure everything works, and then we will tidy up all the wiring and do the wire management. Let's run our wiring to the Jetson and to the Hokuyo. Jetson goes over here. This is the power to the USB hub. Let's take it over to the bench and make sure everything works. The first thing that we need to do is hook our batteries up. I've hooked up the battery from the chassis to the VESC. Here's our XP18000. We plug in the blue to the blue and the green to the green. Let's turn the power on the Jetson, and it should boot up. The race car software is already installed on the Jetson. In order to talk to the Hokuyo, we need to set a static IP address. The Hokuyo needs to be on the same subnet as the Jetson. So let's do that. Edit connections. Let's add a connection. Ethernet. Let's call it ROS. We want to manually set the IP address. We add the address. The address of the Hokuyo is 192.168.0.10. So we will choose 192.168.0.15. We'll use a NetMask of 255.255.255.0. And we'll set our gateway to be 192.168.0.1. Let's save that. We'll close this dialog. If we are on our regular wired connection 1, if we try to ping the Hokuyo, nothing happens. However, if we switch over to our ROS setting, you can see now that we can ping it. Another thing that we need to do is change our bash RC. And then we will export our ROS master and our ROS IP to match our new ROS network setting. We do that in these two lines here. Now we should be able to teleop the car and be able to read the LiDAR. Source the devel. Make sure our controller is on. Hit the Logitech button here in the middle. Okay. The wheels turn forwards and backwards. There's a dead man button here. So that works. Let's take a look at our ROS topics. The LiDAR scan is here, /scan. Oh, that's pretty nice. Here's all our LiDAR information flying out. Let's make sure that the IMU data is coming out also. Sure enough. And let's do a little bit of Rviz in here. Okay, we've opened up Rviz. Let's add our scan. So there's our laser scan. This area right here is me. Even though the car is stationary, it tries to remap itself, of course. Forwards, backwards. Turning around in a circle. That all looks like it's working, and we're ready to go button it up. It looks like the LiDAR is LiDARing. Our build looks pretty good here. All we have to do is a little bit of cable management and tidying up, and we're good to go. Thanks for watching.